avoid overselling yourself, where you are always the one leading the conversation, selling yourself as if you are the main subject of that relationship. So over time, it has to be a balanced kind of relationship where you're also able to collaborate as a connection. I think many people are being transactional. So what do I mean by being transactional? You are only reaching out to someone because you've seen that there's something you can actually benefit from this particular individual. Someone is just maybe shared an update, maybe a banking CEO, or they're working for a certain organization you admire and you'd like to join, and that is when now you decide to reach out to them to send the connection. Or if you've been connected with them, let's say for 5 years, but this is when you're actually reading about that good news. That's when you're deciding to reach out to them. That's now being transaction because you haven't yet established that platform to enable mutual transactions or mutual relationship. One thing for sure is that not everyone is posting every day. Not everyone is posting every day, but there are people who are posting from time to time. So just understand also as an individual that even you, your time for sharing will come. Just understand your journey, understand what you are doing there on that platform. So ask yourself, what are my objectives of being on this platform? Am I here to share insights? Am I here to connect and get opportunities with individuals? But in doing so, there will be times where you are now announcing some of the achievements and milestones that you are actually achieving in those pursuits.
Hello and welcome to the Money and People podcast, the show where we connect the dots between financial success and the power of human capital. Today on the show, we are joined by Trust Mukonde, and we are going to be discussing Beyond the Algorithm, Cultivating Genuine Professional Relationships. Welcome to the show, Trust.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, and as we begin the episode, we are going to break the ice. So, who are you outside of finance?
Thank you very much. First things first, outside the normal uh, lifestyle that I do in terms of my day-to-day discharge of duties at the office, I love photography. Outside work, obviously, and I also love to do gardening. And I think that's something that helps me focus and refresh and recharge. Other than that, I'm a family person. I love spending time with my two babies, my two boys. Um, those that want to know more a bit about me, I also love networking, and I think that's the more reason why I'm here. I love connecting with people. I love organizing events where people come together, where different talents come together and share ideas. Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. It sounds like you're a multi-passionate person. And is there any unexpected opportunity that you have ever had that came from a simple conversation?
Yes, I have quite a number of opportunities that I've actually benefited just outside a normal conversation. This could be a LinkedIn conversation, an in-person conversation, where it just started from a small conversation and big things came out of it. Even this same podcast is one of those examples. If I remember very well, this is the second time we're meeting in person, and the rest of the times it was just on LinkedIn. We built that conversation up until we met physically. But I think I'll single out one conversation that helped me to be who I am today. So back about 3 years ago, I reached out to someone on LinkedIn I was looking up to, just for to make a request for them to become my mentor, and I made that request. Though it wasn't a, a response that was given right away, it took 2 years for me to get that response. But from that same conversation, I built up the conversation, the momentum, and big things came up. And that person I reached out to eventually became my mentor. And the result of out of that mentorship are things that have actually helped me to be where I am in my career today. So
Okay.
those are some of the opportunities I can talk about before I dive deep into what this particular individual was able to do for me.
Okay. That's interesting. And would you choose 1,000 connections or 10 meaningful relationships and give us the reason why for whichever answer you will pick?
I think I would prefer 10 meaningful relationships or connections to 1,000 connections. Reason being, after understanding what a connection is, what a network is, if you look at what 1,000 connections are and what 10,000 connections can do for you, I would rather choose the 10 connections, meaningful ones, because I know there is a mutual understanding. I'm able to do something for them, they're able to also do something for me. There's a collaboration kind of relationship that is there, as opposed to just being attached to a certain number. I'll give an example of LinkedIn. You may be connected to 10,000 individuals, but you've never had a conversation with those people. You've never reached out, or they have never reached out to you. We've never structured conversation or even to discuss about any potential collaboration on the projects that you're working on. So that is why I prefer to having 10 connections where we're able to discuss ideas, opportunities, brainstorm each other. Yes.
Okay. All right, now that we have been able to break the ice, we can go into the heart of the matter. And you can start by telling us a little bit about your journey. How did you come to being in the finance space?
Well, that's a very interesting question because I never saw myself to be in the space where I am today. Growing up, I had a switch of careers, should I say ambitions. When I was young, I once fantasized about being a lawyer. I used to admire judges. I wanted to be a chief justice. After that, I was put in a business class back in junior secondary. I was doing bookkeeping. Our teachers started telling us, you'll be an accountant, you'll be working in a bank one day. I passed to grade 10. I was put in a more difficult class where there are pure sciences and additional mathematics. And, there is that society misconcept that if you're doing well, you're a very smart student, you end up being a doctor or an engineer. So that's how I saw myself becoming an engineer or a doctor, other than becoming an accountant, which I saw myself earlier on. But when I completed my grade 12, I had about 8 points. And when I was applying, I was told that you can't become a medical doctor because that was CBU, the Copper Belt University. That the people that are being picked for these programs in the previous year, they had 7 points, and that should be your benchmark. So that's how I had to go back to the dreams that I had previously. So, okay, in this case, let me just apply for banking and finance. And also, I come from a family where our parents groomed us to be doing business. So at least I was introduced to the business background as well as my fourth grade. So at least I had the heartbeat of business in me. And having applied for that program, being accepted into doing banking and finance, and I think it was easy for me because I was able to understand business. But this time around, I just had to understand it from a corporate perspective. And that's how I found myself in the finance program up until I finished my 4 years degree program at Eco Belt University. But I didn't find myself in audit straight from university. There was still a trail. My first job was actually in the NGO. So I first worked with Johnson Incorporated under the USAID program. And from there, that is when I actually navigated my way to joining audit.
Okay. So you studied banking.
Banking and finance.
Okay, and then you worked in an NGO. Did you ever work in a bank?
I've never worked in a bank before, but
Oh.
from my audit experience, that is when I've had the actual bank experience in terms of auditing the actual banks, but not working as a banker. But I'm a trained banker.
Okay. So let's get into the heart of the discussion beyond the algorithm. Many people think that when we talk about networking, we are just talking about using LinkedIn and, sending that connection request, accepting it, going in someone's inbox saying, thank you for accepting my request. But what do you think people are getting wrong when it comes to actually having meaningful connections from such platforms as LinkedIn?
I think my quick response to what people are actually getting wrong on how they are going about networking and actually creating meaningful relationships, I think many people are being transactional. So what do I mean by being transactional? You are only reaching out to someone because you've seen that there's something you can actually benefit from this particular individual. Someone is just maybe shared an update, maybe a banking CEO, or they're working for a certain organization you admire and you'd like to join, and that is when now you decide to reach out to them to send the connection, or if you've been connected with them, let's say for 5 years, but this is when you're actually reading about that good news. That's when you're deciding to reach out to them. That's now being transaction because you haven't yet established that platform to enable mutual transactions or mutual relationship. So that's one thing that I feel people are actually getting it wrong. And also the other point I would like also bring to the table on how people are actually getting it wrong is they they just connect with people and let it be there. They are treating forgetting like LinkedIn is actually a digital CV where you get to show your credibility and your visibility. Many people just connect and forget, and they are using LinkedIn like Facebook. So that is one area people are also getting it wrong. When you create a LinkedIn account, that is your digital CV. You need now to enhance it for you to have credibility and visibility at the same time. And by doing so, you're actually creating your brand. And you are not, if you're not doing so, then you're not doing the right thing. And that's how come I would say they are getting it wrong.
Okay. But with the pressure to utilize LinkedIn in the right way and build those meaningful connections, there's also a risk that some people may not show up as their authentic self because they're trying to create an impression of their life being a certain way so that they can be able to have those meaningful connections, right?
Mm.
So you may be forced to exaggerate maybe some of your achievements or to keep talking about achievements in in a certain way just so that you are able to get those right connections. So how do you just avoid that pressure? How do you stay authentic even as you are on these networking platforms?
I think staying and being authentic is very important in your journey to becoming a well-connected individual, because your journey now is more than just a connection, but you're trying to stand out in your, it could be in your career, in your profession. Now, as you are standing out, you need to be very authentic. And how do you become authentic? Is by becoming genuine first. How do you show the ingenuity in you to your followers, your connection? I understand there's a bit of pressure because you need to strike a balance between credibility uh, and also being able to perform. And I think that's part of the debate that is there currently. Why should someone focus on visibility before they enhance their competence? And I think that's the most common debate currently going on. But I think um, my honest opinion on this one is you can't hide your talents, you can't hide your competence. At the end of the day, you need to come out. But as someone who's starting out, should you just hide until you are ready to show what the world is ready to see? I would encourage such a one to start from where they are. Whatever they are good at, they need to be communicating to the outside world. This is what they can do. These are some of the problems they can solve. This is what they can bring to the table, as opposed to imitating someone. Just be your authentic self, as opposed to just imitating someone just for the sake of gaining numbers and people seeing you for someone else you are not.
Okay. And you brought out something very important is the fact that you need to not just be visible, but there also needs to be that meat, you know. You need to, at least, even while you are being active on these platforms, at least your work should also be able to speak for itself. So, how do, like, for someone who's just new to LinkedIn, they are starting their LinkedIn today and they're trying to be visible, but how do they just manage to build that trust from people that, yes, what this person is saying is actually genuine? How do you approach building that trust? Because anyone can go there. You are not required to provide proof that yes, I saved my company $20,000, or that I improved a process, or that I even got a certification, right? Someone can just go there and post all these things. But how do you build that trust, and how do we rely on that credibility? Because these days, everyone is trying to be a thought leader on LinkedIn. But how do we back it up? How do we build that trust?
I think there has to be a track record to start with. And again, it's difficult to start verifying or yeah, proving to people that this is what you've been able to do just for the sake of them getting the credibility. But if you're just starting, I think the focus should be why are you there? What are you trying to achieve on being on LinkedIn? Are you there? I've come to understand there are different types of individuals on LinkedIn. Others are professionals who are trying to share knowledge, their experiences. Then others are there to win big deals. There are those who are just coming on LinkedIn, accept the connection request today. The following day, actually the very minute they're already sending you business development
Yeah.
ads. So when you understand from that aspect, then you just need to understand your journey. Okay, from here, my next goal is now to show my competence, and that's how come when you just start your LinkedIn journey and you share anything, you won't get much engagement, you won't get much reaction because people don't know you. But it is from your consistency that people are actually going to trust you because you're always constantly showing up, you're showing value, and people are able to also validate your, let's say, your sharing to current happenings or to current trends in the economy or whatever is happening in the country. And I feel that is one way you can actually build trust, consistency, and just being honest.
Okay. And if you are just new on LinkedIn, you would probably feel like it's like a professional marketplace. Everyone is trying to sell themselves. So, how do you just network confidently without feeling like you have to sell yourself? Because someone did a funny TikTok video that I saw where they're like, every time you go on LinkedIn, it's like everyone is thrilled to be announcing this or announcing that. What if I don't have anything to announce?
Mm.
And I'm still trying to figure it out. How do I confidently approach networking? And what are the practical steps of me getting started on LinkedIn?
All right, I think I'll start with the last part. What are the practical steps to getting started on LinkedIn? I feel uh, Teacher Vincent has actually maybe nailed some of those tips, but I'll also just summarize a bit. How do you get started? First of all, you need to be or to appear professional. How do you appear professional? Because that is the first starting point. How are people going to view you as a professional when you're not professional yourself? So first you need to have a professional account. Make sure every section of your account is updated. That way, even as you are reaching out to people that you want to connect, they will view you as an authentic individual, not just as a ghost account, because we are living in dangerous times in the digital age where people are able to scam other people using digital accounts. So at least as you are reaching out to people on your account, it is easier for them to trust you because of how you've actually profiled yourself, starting from um, your profile picture, the about section, introduction, work experience, education, and all those sections up to the recommendation section because that is where also people rely on. If these people have been able to recommend such an individual, then I can trust them or I can work with them. Now, based on that basic, as an individual, now how do you gain the confidence to start networking with individuals who are always posting content I'm thrilled every time. So one thing for sure is that not everyone is posting every day. Not everyone is posting every day, but there are people who are posting from time to time. So just understand also as an individual that even you, your time for sharing will come. Just understand your journey, understand what you are doing there on that platform. So ask yourself, what are my objectives of being on this platform? Am I here to share insights? Am I here to connect and get opportunities with individuals? But in doing so, there will be times where you are now announcing some of the achievements and milestones that you are actually achieving in those pursuits. Um, and I think that can also give you the confidence to say, even even I can have moments where I'll be actually posting, I'm thrilled to share. I've been able to win a tender. I've been able to complete this course that I had started. It starts from somewhere because there's always somewhere to start from. Every person who walks was once a baby and always begin with baby steps.
Okay. And how can you maintain your professional relationships over time, not just when you need something?
All right. It, understanding networking is a two-way street, meaning there has to be give and take. So if you're always the one reaching out, asking, and benefiting from your connection, then you won't be able to sustain that relationship. So you need to be in a kind of relationship where even you are able to bring something to the table so that the person you are in a relationship with or that professional relationship with is also able to benefit from you and get some kind of value from the table that you are also bringing. Also, avoid always reaching out. Avoid overselling yourself, where you are always the one leading the conversation, selling yourself as if you are the main subject of that relationship. So over time, it has to be a balanced kind of relationship where you're also able to collaborate as a connection. Reach out to your colleague or your connection, find out what they are good at, find out what projects they're currently working on, find out by asking them, is there a way you can also support them based on the skill sets that you have? Are you able to share some skills or some knowledge or some insight or professional knowledge that you have based on what they are working on? You have to understand what activities excite this kind of individual. Do they love attending webinars? Do they love organizing workshops? Because you've seen already that this kind of individual has something in them that you actually want to benefit from at the end of the day or in the long run. 5 years, let's say this person I mean has a very good leadership style, and you'd like to actually also adopt the same kind of leadership style. You can only get it maybe by spending enough time with that person. Try by all means spending enough time with that person, because by doing so, you're actually going to learn that kind of leadership style. How does that person work with other people? How do they listen to other people? How do they employ their emotional intelligence? It is by spending enough time with such kind of an individual, but also making sure that you're paying attention to what they are also looking for, in a nutshell.
Okay, that's an interesting bomb that you dropped at the end and then you just said in a nutshell. What do you mean paying attention to what they also need?
So I made mention that avoid overselling as if you're the only person in that relationship.
Mm,
So you need to understand them. What activities do they do most of the times? By doing that, you are trying to understand them so that you are also able to complement them in one way or the other, as opposed to being the only beneficiary. Even the rich people, at some point, they want to be helped, even if you are the ones with more money, but just a little favor here and there, or just being of help at some time. My mentor is currently based in the UK. I've only met him once, and that once was just last year, but he became my mentor in 2023. But I help him, or I support his activities back here in Zambia. He runs MMT mentorship and other things that he does. I love supporting him because I also benefit. And as much as I can't give him the much monetary support that he needs, because he has more than I can give him, but at least one way or the other, I need to be able to support such an individual because he's been of help to me. So, how do I understand that I can actually help this person also? Understand the kind of activities they're involved in, then also offer yourself, make yourself available to
okay.
support.
Okay. And you bring in a very important aspect of mentorship, which is something I wanted to talk about. What role do you feel mentorship has played in your journey, and how can young professionals find the right mentors?
I think mentorship for me has really accelerated my career growth because of my proud mentor, MMT Mwale M. Tembo. I think if not for him, I wouldn't have finished or progressed my academic studies, my professional papers up to date. He was able to run me through what I was going to expect in my next 3 years of my audit career. So that has actually helped me fast track my career because I was able to actually foresee the kind of challenges I would be facing ahead. And I was actually prepared to say, should this thing come, I'll be ready for them. And here I am as a senior auditor. I've been able to overcome all those challenges I foresaw coming. And other than that, it has also helped. Mentorship has actually helped me to enhance my credibility because by virtue of association, that also enhances credibility because if I'm associating yourself with the Money and People podcast and they discuss things that are very valuable, and I'm always found with this association, people are always going to also value me. If this person is found with these people, then he's also going to be a valuable member of the team. And that's how come even my understanding of mentorship actually has enhanced my credibility, even on LinkedIn, because if I share what my mentor was actually helping me to overcome in my journey, by virtue of people knowing, oh, this is the guy's mentor, then that credibility also gets to be enhanced because they understand if this person can get mentored by this one, then we can trust him. Then also visibility. If you're being mentored by someone and you're constantly mentioning them or they're constantly mentioning you, it's more like they're sponsoring you, and people in the background, they're watching you and they're looking out for you. And going to the last part of the question, I can exhaust a number of points. So going to the last part of the question, how can someone find a right mentor? So you have to be very, very careful. As a young professional, even as a working professional yourself who's already experiencing your journey, how do you find a right mentor? For me, I always go back to understanding yourself, knowing exactly what you want. Because there are different types of mentors around who have achieved several things in life. But if you don't understand what you want as an individual, you will blame the wrong person that they have not actually done the right job. So you need to find the missing piece within yourself. What do I want? Do I want mentorship? Or I want someone just to coach me? Or do I just want someone to give me a pointer? Or someone to be there for the next 3 to 4, 5 years? Do I just need one mentor or I need several mentors? So those are some of the key questions an individual need to ask themselves when are looking for a mentor.
Thank you for highlighting that there's different types of mentorship structures that you can actually employ. And even the one where, for me, I've never thought about the fact that there can be that mentor who can be there even for the long term. I always think of mentorship as something that is just maybe for 3 to 6 months, but I guess there's someone that can also support your journey in a longer period of time. So thank you for highlighting that. But someone out there is also wondering, how do you approach someone? You've identified that person that can support your career journey or whatever other area of your life you want to be mentored. Not everyone feels they have the courage to approach someone, or they fear rejection. Rejection doesn't just come in the form of, no, I'm not able to mentor you. Sometimes there have been experiences that people have had where someone accepts to mentor them, but maybe they just meet with the mentor once and they silently ghost them, you know? So sometimes people may want to be mentored, but they battle with that fear of being rejected or just having the courage to approach someone. So for you, how have you approached people who you've asked to mentor you? And is there a particular tip or advice that you can give to someone out there who's not sure how to even approach someone to mentor them?
Definitely, that's a subject I actually love to talk about as well. How do you approach someone to become your mentor? So, having understood yourself now that this is actually what you need, you found the missing piece and you've identified the particular individual that you feel can actually complement or fill that gap that you've identified. How do you gather the courage? So, first things first, you need to show that you're also a person of value, because you can't go to someone for direction when you don't know the direction yourself as well. So you need to know that direction. So I'll speak from my experience because I don't want to downplay other people's approaches. So up to now I've only had like 3 mentors. So the first mentor I had, how did I find him? So this was I found when I was in the NGO, like I mentioned, I was doing something contrary to what I studied. I was doing monitoring and evaluation, but I think that's where the passion for audit grew, because I was doing data audit, but it was health information. So I found myself losing myself. I'm used to understanding language of finance, banking, accounting. Then I'm just looking at information to do with drugs, tablets, medicine, types of diseases, and how we're tracking them. I found myself losing myself, and it was at that time when I said I need direction. I needed a mentor, and at that time I was already active on LinkedIn, whereby I was actively working in an NGO dealing with health information system. But my content on LinkedIn, on the other hand, was where I was seeing myself in the next 5 years. So I started posting things on accounting because I was positioning myself. Whenever there is a trend in the country, when maybe the Minister of Finance announces something, there's inflation announcement, MPR, I would share my thoughts on that. And at least that way people had a picture about me. So when I came to a decision of me looking for a mentor, it was just a public post that I'm looking for a mentor. That was the first approach that I used. So that one, people started suggesting because there are structured mentorship out there where you get mentored in a group, others you just get mentored as an individual. So there is a particular individual who was actually tagged in that post, someone I'm actually proud to call my mentor, and is the reason why I actually joined audit. Part of the answer to the first question you asked me, one conversation that actually led to opportunities. Also, part of that answer is this particular individual is now associate director at EY, Sosiku Nasinda. Yeah, people mentioned him, and I got that opportunity to have a conversation with him, and that's how he gradually brought me in under his mentorship. And I showed seriousness, and I was one of the most progressive mentees, and that's how he actually was able to share some opportunities. And he told me there are some opportunities that have been advertised. You need to apply at a certain organization, an organization that was actually not working for, but he just saw it on LinkedIn and I applied. But if I had not gotten closer to him, I wasn't going to know about those opportunities. The other mentor, I was just seeing him also from a distance, MMT. And he was sharing content that I loved, especially that he was a Zika approved mentor as well. So I actually reached out to him in the inbox, and it took 2 years for him actually to respond. I don't blame him because he's too busy, he's a working professional. So as young people, we shouldn't blame our leaders for not getting back to us on time as early as we expect. Yeah. So it took 2 years for him to get back to me, but at least I expressed the desire I had. I told him the objective why I needed that mentorship, and he responded 3 years later, if not two. And he actually saw the progress that I had done for myself because I had proven myself to say, this is what I want. So I continued doing whatever I was doing on LinkedIn, sharing content so that people can have a picture about me, which is more like branding. By the time I was coming to accept me, I had even grown professionally. I was entering my second year of audit. On LinkedIn, I was sitting somewhere over 25,000 followers. And that's the time I was even coming to congratulate me for the milestone that I had achieved. So, in a nutshell, on how you can actually find a mentor, you can reach out to a person that you've identified. Should they possess a particular piece that you are looking for, reach out to them, but be professional because people are busy also. You can't just drop a message in someone's inbox as if you're not serious. These are leaders that are leading big organizations. So as you're reaching out to them, make sure you're straight to the point, but be objective. And also, the other approach which I had used back in the day where I just made the public post is not very popular, but you can also try it.
Making a public.
Making a public post, I was looking for. I didn't mention. Sorry, I had
Oh,
posted that I'm looking for a mentor in these areas: finance,
yeah.
accounting, and audit.
So people recommended.
Yes, it was a
Okay.
public post. That was in 2021. I'm looking for a mentor to mentor me in these areas. I'm an extremely ambitious young person who sees himself growing in such areas. And people
Okay.
started mentioning his name. And he saw what I was doing. I don't know, but obviously you have to do a background check to someone. And that's how come he accepted me.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. I think for those people in our audience, that's a good starting point. Yeah. And I'm thinking that even for someone to agree to mentor someone, they also need to be able to see that potential in you, or that they need to accept, because it's a journey. Yeah. And so, how do you even build a good professional reputation such that someone can even want to mentor you, or someone can want to network with you?
I think part of the answer I've mentioned it already.
Yeah.
So for you to build a professional reputation, you need to have a track record. Yes. So what do people say about you? And I think about networking, I've come to realize that it's not about who you know, it is about who knows you. So what do people say about you when you're not there? Do people mention your name in the rooms? you don't have access to. So that is the reputation you're talking about. So I feel for me, I've not been able to join rooms where people are mentioning my names, but I can see some of the results that come. I normally reach out to people that work in groups. I do get positive feedback. That also goes to show that my name is being discussed somewhere and I'm getting the results. So it is about what are you doing outside where you are always found. If it's at the workplace, what do people say about you? It could be your superiors when you're not there. Are they always getting feedback about how you're complaining about workload, how you're always knocking off late, or are they always praising you for, for the resilience, for always going an extra mile? So people always forget that networking starts from the workplace. The superiors that we have, our colleagues, our managers, it starts from there. Then it goes now outside. Uh, that also kind of mentorship that we get from our leaders at the workplace. So don't just look at mentorship at someone who's just out there, but it starts from within in your circles, because those are the people who are actually going to share the word. Especially in this era where people are getting recommendations and referrals, they always reach out to people who are closer to that person. So how do I work with this person if they are portraying such kind of characters? So if people share a good word about you, definitely your mentor will actually get you, especially when they don't know anything about you. They will rely on referrals. So they'll check, "Ah, this person works for such an organization. Let me reach out to a colleague who works there." If they get good input about you, definitely they'll get you. And I'm sure even jobs, that's how they are gotten these days. It's just about recommendation. And these days also, and I think LinkedIn itself has got a provision for recommending. So before someone comes to put you in their circle, they'll go to your LinkedIn section. They see what the kind of recommendations you've gotten from the people you've worked with, your former classmates, your former superiors, your workmates, and other people that you've been able to collaborate with. They will leave reviews there for you. And someone who's just trying to know more about you, they'll go to that particular section and they'll see, should this be the person I work with or not? Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. And we've talked about mentorship from the mentee side, but how does one know also that they themselves are now ready to mentor other people?
So my mentor once told me that you can't be a leader when you're not ready to lead. So as you are growing, you need also to be sharing what you've learned to others. And this is a challenge that my mentor, Sosiku Nasinda, also gave me beginning last year, to say you should be able, even asked me, do you have mentees? I said, yes. Then that's, you're doing a very good job. So there's what we call reverse mentorship. So as you are mentoring, as you're being mentored by your mentor, you should also be able to add value, not just to your mentees, even to your own or very mentor. What kind of value are you adding? I'll be very honest, my mentor in the UK, MMT, is very humble to learn from me. He would ask me, how are you managing, achieving these numbers on LinkedIn? That's reverse mentorship, because someone else would like to learn from you. Because yes, they're very skilled in one particular area, but that doesn't mean they know everything. And someone would like also to know more in what you know about better. Yeah, so it's about reverse mentorship.
That's a new word for me. I'm only hearing about it today. Reverse mentorship. Okay, interesting. And how do you see networking evolving in the next 5 to 10 years, especially in the corporate space?
Already, we are using digital spaces to network, such as LinkedIn, which is a more professional digital tool. Um, Obviously, there are other platforms, social media platforms like LinkedIn, TikTok, but those ones are not actually professional. So I will stick to LinkedIn. And how I see it evolving, I would I see it as a tool that will actually enhance people to connect more with others, but again at the same time it will lead to more artificial relationships, and that is why as of last year, I embarked on a journey of connecting with people beyond LinkedIn, because when you're just connecting with people beyond LinkedIn, you won't be able to create that tangible relationship that you're looking out for. And in the age of digital spaces now, we have very busy executives who will hire personal assistants, personal should I say, social media managers, you would feel you're actually chatting with a CEO and he's also responding to you. You don't know that the person who's responding to is actually just a personal assistant to the CEO, and you're actually excited that this relationship is going somewhere. So that's why I embarked on this journey where I'm now connecting with individuals outside LinkedIn so that I'm able to get the actual value from that relationship. I'm also able to offer my best to that kind of network I have or have built. So how I see it growing to an extent where people are creating more relationships, but I also see a danger where you're just creating artificial connections. So people now need to be able to have the zeal to go out. And part of the dilemma that I see people having is they don't have the spirit and the confidence to reach out. And this is something that I've actually experienced myself. When I reach out to people, others get surprised. I didn't expect this to come from you because I rarely get such kind of invitations. Me, I reach out to people. I tell them I've been following you for the past this number of years, and I very much impressed with what you're doing. And I think what you're doing is in line with what I'm doing. Can we connect outside LinkedIn so that we can find the best of collaboration or where we can actually partner together or exchange insight and learn from each other? But by just watching someone from a distance, just by reacting to their post or commenting is not enough. And there are also people who are very skilled, knowledgeable, but they don't share anything on LinkedIn. They've just opened their account and they are quite just like that. That doesn't mean they don't know anything. By reaching out to them, that is when you actually get the actual value and benefit opportunities that lie in that network. By reaching out to those people and connect with them beyond LinkedIn. Others, it's because they are shy people. Others, they just don't like oversharing. But when you connect on a personal level, they will open up and they'll give you the information you're looking for, the kind of opportunities maybe you're looking for as an individual in that kind of network.
Okay, that's interesting. And even as you talk about how networking will evolve, and interesting that you bring up the fact that, yeah, there are some accounts that are being managed by someone else, creating this false sense of you have a relationship with some big CEO somewhere. Or you are chatting in the comments and you get excited that, oh, this person has responded, not knowing it's perhaps someone just managing their account. But also with that brings the question, how do you see now AI tools also coming into play in such networking platforms as LinkedIn? Is it something that we need to now also start learning to use, and how can we even use AI tools on LinkedIn?
Yes, in terms of the involvement of networking, I feel AI tools are also some of the tools we can deploy to enhance our networking. But I think I don't see them different from engaging someone to be managing our accounts for us, unless we are using them just for purposes of automation or in terms of our posts, the scheduled posts, the kind of language we are using in our posts just to maintain some uniformity in our language. Um, Basically, I don't see a difference as long as we don't involve the humanity involved in the networking itself. And at some point, we need to, even if you don't have to meet personally or physically, but at least you can actually schedule a virtual call with someone, have a conversation, and they compare notes. And that's how I see the potential in the networking space itself.
Okay. And if you could change one thing about the way people are currently approaching networking, what would it be?
One first thing, I already mentioned it, is transactional. And this is something I've actually suffered myself with or from, where someone will only connect with you and already they are being transactional with you. They are not willing to invest growing the relationship because they don't understand, by the way, what exactly they are doing. So the first thing I would help people change about the way they are going about networking is to stop being transactional and invest in developing a relationship with someone for a foreseeable future because it's a long-term investment. Look at it as a long-term investment and not just something you connect today, tomorrow, you're already asking for a favor. And most of the times, if you rush into asking for a favor, people actually run away from you. They will deem you as a scammer. At least for me, I've given myself a window. If I was to ask for something from someone, maybe a year plus, that way it would have created ample time for this person to know me, for this person to understand me and to know what exactly I'm doing. And that I'll create a platform for this person to trust me. If whatever I'll be telling them, they will believe. But if I connect with them today, the next day I'm already asking for a favor. No, I'm looking for a job. Can you assist me with some transport money? I'm going for a job interview. Already people I feel like they are being scammed. As long as we are not investing in developing those relationships with the people that you are connecting with, it always be transactional and won't be getting the results that we desire to get from our connections. Yeah.
Okay. And what advice would you give to someone who feels overlooked or invisible in these professional spaces?
So the first thing to start with, just be yourself, be genuine, be authentic. Once you do that, start showing your true self to others by being consistent. So if you're being consistent, you will become visible eventually, not instantly. No individual has become visible instantly. Others maybe by luck, but it's by building reputation and building trust from people. So by virtue of always showing up, always being consistent, always deliver the results, you will start building trust in people, and eventually people start trusting you.
In conclusion, if there's one thing, and you can speak to the audience, that you would want our viewers to remember about going beyond the algorithm, what would it be?
So what I can encourage our viewers, one thing to consider, forget about the numbers and focus on the impact and what exact value you are looking for. So I'll give myself as a particular example. Um, Back in the year 2024, I think I was the third most followed person on LinkedIn here in Zambia. The highest being Muzingamelu, second was Andrew Chiwe from PwC, and I was second, just a small guy. Yes, but after realizing that I wasn't getting much value from the numbers that I had, which is same as the algorithm you are talking about. And that is why also first earlier when I mentioned I would actually prefer 10 meaningful connections to 1,000 followers or connections. I wasn't getting much value from those. By then it was 50,000 followers. That is when I changed my direction to say, right now I should focus on impact and growth, as opposed to just focusing on the numbers. What's the purpose of having more numbers and I'm not getting any value? I'm not making an impact on the community itself. And that is something that I will always encourage our viewers there. As you are starting out your LinkedIn journey, your networking and mentorship, always focus on the impact and not just the numbers beyond the algorithms, and also endeavor to create tangible relationships. Um, I understand there are people who are very shy. I used to be one of them actually. I'm between being an extrovert and introvert. Sometimes I used to face challenges reaching out to people, especially in person. But after understanding what networking is and the benefit it has, I came to come up to develop a strategy. And that strategy, when I'm meeting new people, just create a 30-second pitch just to help you introduce yourself to gain the confidence. It could be in person, it could be in writing, even on LinkedIn. Just there's a danger in copying a message you are sending to 1,000 people. At least try to customize the individual that you're writing to or the person you're reaching out to, so that it sounds more authentic as you are reaching out to them. And also, don't forget to follow up when you reach out to those people. So we understand you are a shy person. um, Craft that 30-second pitch or introduction. And also, if you feel like you are more shy and want to work on that aspect, make sure you attend some events such as uh, networking events where you'll be able to meet new people, and everyone there, by the way, is actually new. So at least everyone of you you'll be new. So as you are meeting those people, you'll be like starting to work on your fears. You can also volunteer to be like a church usher. When you're working in church, always meeting new people, smiling, eventually you'll get used to meeting new people. By the time you go into professional spaces, you would have already challenged or overcome these fears that you have of reaching out to people. And always don't forget to follow up or making a follow up when you reach out to people, in case you're reaching out to them being a connection or them being a mentor. Sometimes people are too busy and we tend to overlook or think that they are ignoring us. I'll give you yourself as an example. I reached out to you in 2024. There was no feedback, but here we are, 2026.
Yeah.
We are talking, and that doesn't mean that you didn't see value in me, but because maybe we were busy by then, you didn't see my message.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't always think people are ignoring you, but always remember sometimes they can see your message, but they value their time. So you need to also prove yourself that they can also benefit something from you.
Okay, thank you. And I forgot one thing. So that wasn't the last question. This one is with the networking events that you've been having, with pushing for actual real life networking beyond LinkedIn, how can people be able to learn more about those events? Is there a name of a page that they can follow so that they look out for your next event?
Yes, so this is a baby network or association that we've come up with. So it's called the Roundtable Network. So this is just a network for young people who are trying to find their voice, who are trying to overcome their fears of reaching out to people, networking. So we've set up this platform for you, just for you to come and learn and meet different established industry professionals who will be coming to share their more than 30 years of experience with us so that it's easier for us to navigate our career campuses.
Okay.
And we are found on LinkedIn, and more events that are lined up this year will be announced on those social media platforms.
The Round Table
The
Network.
Roundtable Network.
Okay, thank you so much, Trust. And looking forward to those events that will be shared on the page. And thank you once again for coming on the show and sharing your insights on networking beyond the algorithm.
Thank you very much. I also appreciate for giving me the platform, the opportunity to share my insight on this particular subject, and I look forward to more of these in the future.
Thank you so much. And to you in the audience, what has stood out for you? Comment in the comment section and let's get interactive. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you. Bye.